All right, let's get into a topic we tend to shy away from, but one that, touches every single one of us, the end of life. Now, this isn't about being scared of dying, not at all. It's about the dignity of living, right up to the very end. We're going to explore this really profound shift in how we care for people in their final chapter, and we're going to do it through the lens of hospice care.
Just let these words sink in for a second. They were spoken by an elderly patient, and he knew his time was short. And when he says tortured, he doesn't mean anything malicious. What he's really talking about is that endless cycle of tests and procedures and machines that modern medicine offers. These interventions that can, prolong a life, but can also just prolong suffering.
What he said leaves us with this huge, fundamental question. When the fight for a cure is over, what should care even look like? Is it really about fighting tooth and nail to the last possible second? Or is it about finding peace and comfort and meaning in whatever time is left? That's the core dilemma we're going to explore today.
So let's really start to unpack this question, because it frames a problem that's uniquely modern and one that, honestly, many of us are going to face.
And here's the paradox, right? Our medical technology is just incredible. We've wiped out diseases and we live longer than our ancestors could have ever dreamed. But here's the catch. In doing all that, we haven't actually defeated death. We've just made the process of dying way more complicated, a lot more clinical, and so often more lonely.
So to really get a handle on this shift, it's actually super helpful to see just how much the experience of dying itself has changed over time.
For pretty much all of human history, death was, it was a familiar thing. It happened at home, you were surrounded by your family. It was just seen as a natural part of life's rhythm. But today, death has mostly moved into the hospital. It's become a medical event. It happens in a sterile environment, and often you're surrounded by the beeps and whirs of machines instead of the voices of the people you love.
Okay, so we've kind of laid out the problem. Where do we find a different way forward? Well, that brings us right to our third section, and the real heart of this whole thing, hospice care. And I want you to really notice the massive shift in focus here. Hospice is not about giving up. It's a whole specialized field of medicine that completely redefines the goal. The objective is no longer about curing what can't be cured, but about providing comfort and dignity and peace during that final journey.
And this right here just perfectly illustrates that philosophical difference. Conventional medicine, it's often at war with the disease, right? It's all about extending the length of life. Hospice care flips that script entirely. It's about caring for the whole person, not just the illness, and improving the quality of the life that's left, whether that's days or weeks or months.
So what does caring for the whole person actually look like in practice? Let's break down this amazing approach in our fourth section.
It's a really holistic approach, and it's built on these three pillars that all work together. First, it starts with supporting the body, because physical comfort, that's the foundation for everything else. From there, it moves to soothing the mind and acknowledging all the complex emotions that bubble up at this time. And finally, it's about settling the spirit, which is all about helping a person find a real sense of peace and completion.
And this is where you see that it's just so much more than medicine. Physically, it means expert pain management, not just numbing someone, but truly making them comfortable so their body can finally rest. Psychologically, it's about creating this safe, non-judgmental space to have those tough conversations about fear, about regret, about anxiety. And spiritually, which is so personal for everyone, it's about helping find closure. Maybe that means reconnecting with faith. Or maybe it's just encouraging those final vital human moments, the act of forgiveness, expressing gratitude, and getting the chance to say a real, proper goodbye. It's about making sure that final chapter isn't just an ending, but a meaningful part of the whole story.
Okay, for our fifth and final section, let's zoom out, way out, because this whole conversation, it's not just about medicine, it's really about what kind of society we want to be.
Anthropologists once asked this really fascinating question. What is the very first sign of human civilization you can find in the archaeological record? Now, you might guess it's a clay pot, or maybe a hunting tool, or a cave painting. But the answer? It's something way more profound.
The answer is a 15,000-year-old healed femur, a thigh bone. And why is that so important? Well, because a broken femur out in the wild is basically a death sentence. You can't run, you can't hunt, you can't get away from danger. So a healed bone means something incredible. It means someone else stayed with that injured person. They protected them. They brought them food and water until they recovered. Civilization didn't start with tools. It started with compassion.
And that brings us to this final, really powerful idea. A good death, one with dignity and peace and comfort, it isn't just a medical service. It is a measure of our civilization's capacity for compassion. It's a reflection of how well we take care of each other when we are at our most vulnerable. So the ultimate question it leaves us with is this: how will we choose to care for one another when the end of the journey arrives?